Hey everyone, it's been a really long time since I talked to you, and I'm just chilling out here by the lake, river, by the river, and took my dog for a walk, and she's chilling, going as far as she can on her leash, and it's been an interesting journey. I keep finding that I'm doing things that I'd like to post online, but I'm usually halfway finished doing them by the time I think of pulling out my camera. Such as I was making grape juice today from grapes that I picked out of my garden, and I came up with this really awesome way to get the grape juice away from the seeds and the skins, but after it didn't occur to me until after I had done it to put it on film. I just want everybody to know out there that whatever you're going through right now or whatever you've been through, it doesn't have to stay that way. You can make changes in your life to make it fit what you need it to be. There's a lot of things going on in the world that not you, but a lot of people have no idea about. One of those things is SRA. And it's a real thing and it's a real problem. Mind control is a real thing. Covert cults of mind control people who work for and are part of and are enslaved by, you want to say the government, but like honestly, the government is like mid-level bureaucracy. It's not at the height. Our government people are puppets too. A lot of people right now are hating on Trudeau, and I don't blame them at all. But the dude's a mind control victim. As a little boy, his dad was allowing people to do things to him. I mean, Kathy O'Brien talks about how Trudeau's dad was raping her when she was a little kid. And then you have Trudeau's parents who paid off the family of a teenager who was his student that he had a relationship, quote, relationship with. So as much of a terrible leader as he is, he's as much in charge of our country as my shoe is. He's got zero control. He's nothing but a talking head, mind control victim, as is everybody that we're seeing in the public eye. And people who think Pierre Poilievre or Trump are gonna save us, it's ridiculous. All the things that people talk about that they show you in movies like clones and mind control and Manchurian candidates and zombies and all these things, if you pay enough attention and listen to enough people, you will realize in not very long that this shit is all real. There's a channel called the Imagination Podcast, and this lady Emma interviews people who survived some horrific things. And the people in government who you think are above all this are not above this. Hollywood and politics are the same thing, and government and school and religion. And I mean, how many boys' schools do they have to put on the news before you start to realize that these, quote, I can't even call them elite, they're like predator class people spend their youth going here. One of the things I noticed, I have no proof of what's going on in the background, obviously, but what I did notice is that at one point, Princess Catherine, in the news, this is what the news said that she had a problem with her son going to Eton, which is an elite private boarding school that all the royals, or many of them apparently, went to. And I mean, can you blame her? If she really cares about her son, she's not going to send him off to be pedophiled by a bunch of perverts in a private school. And within like less than a month, like I can't remember exactly now, I pointed this out to Seamus a while back. Less than a month, the chick was in the hospital, and then she had cancer and she was really sick. And at this point, oh, she's gone through chemo now and she's fine. Does that mean that she's now a clone? Did she have to go away for reprogramming? Because that's a real thing. Even within my own family, I know someone whose family who was part of this horrible, they don't talk about it, so I can't tell you what happened. What I do know is that they were actually able to go to a center to be deprogrammed. So, like, if you think that all this stuff is crazy, just don't for a minute. Just open your mind and allow yourself to imagine the horrific shit that goes on among these high level people that you and I can't touch. And some of them are not high level, right? I mean, Kathy O'Brien's story, if you can still find that on YouTube, like, holy shit. Johnny Gosch, Noreen Gosch is Johnny Gosch's mom, and holy crap with the shit that she went through and that she found out. I mean, oh my goodness, think about public schools. Think about how silly and perverted it would sound if some random guy, some guy you don't know, showed up at your child's school to take pictures of them. How would you feel about that? Probably not very good. But when the guy you don't know shows up at school to take pictures of everybody's kid, you dress up for it. And then you pay them for it. I don't know this, but based on the shit that I have seen and heard over the course of my lifetime and many years of investigating and listening to survivors and hearing the tales and seeing things, you know, that just show you that it's really true. Would it surprise me at all if this Harvey's, whatever the company is that goes around and takes photos of all the kids, would it surprise me at all if they have a huge database full of pictures of kids, knowing exactly what kids are where and what schools they go to? And that this is part of how some of these people, like Noreen Gosch was talking about a literal binder filled with photographs of children. And if you want a child, you get to look through this binder and find out which kids you want, and then somebody will go and retrieve them for you. That's why when people put pictures of their children's schools, that they're starting school, what their kids look like, what grade they're in, online, are you kidding me? Facebook is just a great place for a pedophile to find your kid. You send your kid away for 2 weeks to a church camp, you're taking chances. Now, obviously, not every church is going to do terrible things, and not every person inside the church is going to do terrible things. But there's a lot of people who have gone to church camps who have found themselves in these positions. There's a lot of modeling agencies, the music industry. Like, listen to some of the music that they're playing on the radio that they deem appropriate for kids and the public. Oh my God. Right? Drugs and sex and drinking and money and let's buy these fancy cars. There's one song that says something about the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford, like the tattoo on your shoulder. So it's promoting spending money on shit you don't need to buy things with money that you don't have. Let's make everybody poor. And I mean, how often do you see somebody driving around in a brand new truck? And brand new trucks now are like $70,000. Imagine that payment, right? You wonder why house prices are through the fucking roof. Truck prices are the size of what a mortgage used to be, and now it's a car payment. It's absolutely unbelievable. The state of our place that we live in, that we call home, is absolutely at the point where I can't believe people aren't losing their shit. Like, how are people just going on vacation, you know, taking part in school programs, blah, 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 and just going on as though it's the right thing. They don't learn to print and write with their actual hands and a pen and a piece of paper anymore in school. Everything is on the computer, on a screen somewhere. And I don't know where you guys live, but I know the schools around here lock the doors. Like when you go in, they say it's for the child's protection, but I'm not convinced it's not to stop me from coming to get my child when I think she needs to be taken home, right? I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. What I know is that in the town where I live, our streets are filled with immigrants and migrants who don't belong here. Our stores are, the employees are filled with them. You know, there'd be 5 or 6 of them speaking fucking whatever fucking language they're speaking that certainly isn't French or English. And I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They could be saying anything. I've walked into Superstore with my daughter where she was actually walked into a situation where there were 4 young 20s, mid-teens, late teens, mid-20s East Indian looking people, brown people from not Canada, who were standing there, men, staring at her and being disgusting. And so I had to stop and point right at them blatantly and said, when you see people that look like that, you stay away from them. And I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not racist at all. But what I am is a fucking protective parent of my child. And when I'm walking around, when I'm on Facebook and I see that every week at least police are missing a child, a person, an adult, a grown man, there's human trafficking in Nova Scotia, there's SRA going on here. I mean, I would bet money that if you opened up every container in the shipyard in Halifax, you're going to find alive people in there being human trafficked. Like, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I would love to be proved wrong. I'd love to have somebody open up all those containers and prove me totally wrong. I don't think it would ever happen. Our government is inviting the world's criminals and dirty, yucky people to come to our country, and they pay them to live here. There are entire hotels in all the cities that we are paying to house migrants while our citizens live in tent cities. Right? The medium to poor people are living in tent cities, while the rich people. Oh, I just saw a townhouse for rent here in Bridgewater. It was, I think, a 2-bedroom for $2,100 a month plus utilities. Where the fuck are you working in Bridgewater that you can pay that? There's nobody. Where are you working? There's nobody from Bridgewater who's working and living in Bridgewater who does this. And honestly, I used to say that if you come from here and you want to come from wherever you want to here and you work and you pay taxes, I don't care who you are, you should just come. If you're on welfare, you shouldn't be allowed. But now I don't think that. Nobody from any country anywhere should be coming here. Unless you are a Canadian citizen, you don't belong here. And especially like Nova Scotia right now has been inundated with people from Europe, Britain. We have British people, we have German people, we have all these people from all the fucking places over the world where their money is worth twice what our money's worth. They're buying houses for, $500,000 to $1 million that even 5 years ago were not anywhere near that. They'd be $200,000-$300,000 houses, and now they're upwards of $1 million because these people have no mortgages. Right? They sell their house in, say, Germany for however much they sell them for, and they come here, they buy our properties with no mortgages. We don't have space for these people. We have single parents working full-time jobs living in tent cities. We have senior citizens living in tent cities. It's not safe. It's not right. And where the fuck are all these migrants coming from? Because honestly, this same problem is not only all across the country, but it's also all across the Western world, except for, let's say Israel. No, Israel doesn't take in migrants. They tell everybody else to take them in. and Russia. Like, raise your hand if you wouldn't mind moving to Russia right now. So, I don't know what the hell is going on, but and I really don't know why people aren't mad about it. And some people are mad about it privately, but they're not mad about it enough to actually do anything. Maybe share a post on Facebook. Who cares? That's nothing. That is doing nothing. They're not standing up. They're sending their kids to school with the alphabet community and their literature, grooming your children to be okay with sex at a really young age. The quote healthcare approved resources are disgusting, and the teachers are like, well, you have to be inclusive. Well, how come you don't include my opinion that's different from everybody else's? Which it actually isn't. Because if you sit down and talk to other parents, they're just as disgusted about the curriculum as I am. They just don't have what it takes to say anything. And that's the problem, right? There's an expression that says, all the devil needs in the world to take over the world is for good people to do nothing. And so as long as you're doing nothing, you're contributing to it, right? Like during COVID, if you believed that you shouldn't be wearing a mask, but you were wearing one anyway, you are making it worse for everybody else. You're contributing to it by not standing against it. I don't have any respect for that. None at all. I guess it's just a rant. It's peaceful here. I come here to hang out with my dog. I love that dog. I love that dog so much. She's so sweet. She's really busy and she doesn't chill. I had to actually teach her how to chill because she wouldn't do it. With that said, you can't fight the evils of the world unless you heal yourself. You can't be in a healthy relationship or a healthy mindset or be a healthy person unless you heal from the trauma that you have. From the trauma of your life, from the trauma of COVID, from the trauma of, I'm 47 years old. I can't imagine that there's anybody at my age who hasn't had some form of trauma that could absolutely facilitate a book or more. So you don't have to. You don't have to get past it. You can wallow in it. You can live there, but it's not a life. You're just dead without knowing it yet. Or you can grab onto whatever you have in the world, which is your kids likely, or whatever it is that you have, and you can fight for it and make it better. But if you don't fight for your kids against this perversion that is grooming this is systemic racism. Like, it's so funny when you think about all the things that they tell you and people are like, oh, there's not. There is systemic racism. In the system, they're teaching everybody to hate white people. There is systemic sexual abuse being done by the system. It's literally what it says. Systemic sexual abuse. It's like climate change. You can't say it's a hoax because it's not a hoax. The climate changes all the time, every single day. And you can't say that it's not man-made because it is man-made. It's not by you and me with cow farts and SUVs. It's with whoever they are at the top, cloud seeding and spraying chemicals on us that are making everybody sick. So it is man-made. It's just not you and me. So all the things they tell you, you have to figure out what the meaning is of it, where it comes from, how to actually understand it. Because it's all designed to make you a slave. And as long as you don't stand against it, then you are one. Right? All the quote true stories they play, documentaries on Netflix, they're all spun in a certain way to make you believe a certain thing. And that's why they're allowed on Netflix. It's like Paul Palango's book about the Nova Scotia Portapique stuff. People who don't really know what's going on read that book and were like, oh, he's truth-telling. He's calling out that. No, he's not. He's a fucking shill. I don't know who he is. I just know that he's a lying sack of shit who took research that myself and Seamus and other people like you guys did, and he twisted it into whatever it needed to be. How can you write a book on something when we haven't even come to the conclusion of what happened yet? So you should be able to be smart enough not to give this fucktard your money for a book that was not the truth. So Anyway, it's just like everything. All the world is a stage. It really is. Everything is designed here to keep you enslaved and to make you believe certain things, that whatever they want you to believe. It's nice to see that some people are waking up. I'm really happy to see Candace Owens talking about the transgender, quote, wife of the French president, whatever the hell he is, prime minister. But all these people are mind control victims. They're all victims of of a perverted system that's been in effect for however long people have been here. You have to be aware of what's going on. Stop binge watching stupid shit on Netflix and educate yourself on things like mind control, targeted individuals. People are like, oh, that's not real. Yeah, it is. It sure as hell is. It absolutely is real. People are targeted for speaking out. People are targeted for the things that they say. People are targeted for the things they can do. It's unbelievable. So just open your mind, because the things that people call conspiracy theories are real. They truly are real. And some of these people are going through it. It's hard to listen to, but imagine how much harder it is to go through. And when you stop and think that many people went through things that were way worse than what you went through, and they came out the other side and they were okay, but they had to do the work, right? You can't heal from your trauma and your shit without doing the work. Therapy isn't for everyone. I worked on myself for 2023 was my year to get my mental health figured out, at least to understand what was wrong with me and why I was behaving the way I was. And then I figured that out, and I spent the whole year, and it was fucking hard. Healing is hard, and it sucks. It really sucks. But anything that's worth doing is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And everybody be healed, and we'd all just be like, I'm going to heal. And then we just would. It's not. It fucking blows goats, and it's awful. But when you come out the other side of it, and you look back at the work that you did, and then the person you are at the other side, it's so worth it. And I'm certainly not healed yet. At the end of my year of self exploration and discovery, I realized that I knew what was wrong with me. I knew why it was wrong with me. I knew that I had to fix it. And I didn't really understand how or why. So I found a therapist who I really like. We argue all the time because she spent a lot of time in fucking university, and so her feminism and abortion and all this fucked up shit where people are okay with murdering their babies, or if you dress like a slut, it's not your fault if you get treated like a slut. Well, I don't agree with any of that shit. If you cover yourself, show respect for yourself, because if you don't respect yourself, nobody else is going to. There's just so many things going on and so many people. But anyway, I started with the therapy conversation. So I started going to therapy, and as much of a difficult conversations that we have and arguments that we have, I send her home with some things she had to think about, and she does the same for me. And that's all you can do. You can only work as hard as you can, and you can only get better if you do the work. You have to go through it. You can't go around it. That's what self-love is. Self-love isn't taking a bubble bath and eating chocolate and, not working out. Self-love is doing the things for yourself today that are going to let you be the person you want to be next week or next year. That's what it is. Self-love, loving yourself into the existence that you want. So you have to do it. Nobody's coming, and you're on your own, and it sucks and it's hard, but it's doable. And you're going to be a way better example for your kids. And if you don't have kids, you're going to be more proud of yourself. It's only going to be good for everyone. And when you learn to stand up for yourself and your needs, then you can stand up for what's right in the world. You can stand up on the way there, but it's a lot easier to stand in your convictions when you know that you're right and you're confident about it. I don't really know where I was going with this. I was just sitting here peacefully, chilling, and I thought, I haven't talked to you guys in a long time, so I do hope that you're all doing really well. I hope that you all have a place to live and food in your bellies and people who love you. And if you don't have someone to tell you they love you today, I love you. And I'm sending out love and I'm sending out healing. And I just hope that you can feel it. And as always, my advice for making life better. And remember that better is not easier. Better is not easier. It might be better right now to sleep in until noon, but it doesn't make your life easier in a year when you haven't done the work to get to where you need to be, and next year you're still in the same place. So get up, have your morning coffee, doobie, whatever it is to take you to get you where you need to be, and carry on. Give your, accomplish the things that you need to do. But in my opinion, the best way to just be is to get off grid, grow your own food, arm yourselves, and make friends with like minded people because we all need community and we all need support. God bless you and your families, and God bless the 23.